everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Thanks for joining me for another Godzilla review. Today we're going to be taking a look at the S.H.Monsterarts legendary Godzilla vs. Kong Godzilla from Godzilla vs. Kong, which came out earlier this year and is it's okay. Yeah, so as you may or may not know, I do collect the Monsterarts figures. I've got quite a collection going on, and I wasn't originally going to get this one, but I kind of talked myself into it. I didn't need it, but I talked myself into it. Right, so as always, let's have a look at the packaging, and these boxes are always pretty good. They used to be nicer than this, but yeah, I guess cost cutting. But it looks alright. Got a nice picture of the figure on the front, and the GvK logo. Well, not really a logo, but you know what I mean. Made by Bandai, Tamashii Nations, all the usual gubbins on the front. Yeah. GvK on that side. This side, which is the back, you do have this window box now, which is new. I don't know when they started doing this. I mean, I haven't really bought many for a while because they've just been doing reissues, but well, you get the idea. You can see the figure in the packaging. You can see most of the figure anyway, so yeah. And on this side, it's just GvK again, and a picture of the figure. So yeah, so that's it for the packaging. Let me crack him open and we'll take a closer look. Right, so here's the big G out of his box, and yeah, I really like this one. I really do. So as always, let's have a look and see what he comes with. Well, he comes with an extra pair of hands. That's your lot. That is your lot. If I can get this to focus in, there we go. I miss the old days when you bought a Monsterarts figure and you got like 5 or 6 different things, accessories that come with. Honestly, at this point, I'd just be happy if they included one atomic breath part. That'd do me. I don't need too much, but yeah, so it comes with them. Now, let me see if I've got this right. I think the hands that he has as standard in the box, I think these are the ones that you use if you also buy the Kong figure, and you can have Godzilla throttling Kong. And I think these are just like the normal hands, so I will be swapping these over because I've got no interest whatsoever in buying a Kong figure. I only like Godzilla. I like all the kaiju in the Godzilla universe, except for Kong. Just no interest in that one for some reason. But anyway, let's have a look at this Godzilla, and he's pretty cool. I really do wish he'd come with an atomic breath though, because I mean, he's all ready for it, and he's just going to be on the edge forever, the poor bugger. Yeah, but as usual, it's a Monsterarts figure, and it's beautifully sculpted. Let me check it in on his head there. There we go. Absolutely gorgeous looking. What a beauty. And he's got that amazing metallic blue all the way in his mouth there. Honestly, I'd have paid extra for an atomic blast. I would have. An extra 5 or 6 quid. Tenner. Yeah, anyway. And he's got that amazing paintwork all the way down his dorsal spines. And it goes all the way down, right to the very tip of his tail. He really is spectacularly beautiful. So yeah, there's not really a great amount to talk about with Monsterarts figures these days. I will run down the articulation, but the sculpting itself, I'm not actually sure if it's still the same sculptor. I didn't check beforehand, but the sculpting itself is absolutely gorgeous. It's just, you know, it's almost as if he's standing in my dining room. It's that good. He's just, yeah, it's just astounding. You can get a good look there. The trouble is with Monsterarts figures is, as good as they are and as much as I love them, you do always seem to end up with these bits that just don't seem to fit right. You always sort of get a bit of a gap somewhere. It's usually in his leg. You usually end up with a gap, yeah, there where you can see all the way through, which is a bit of a shame, but it's you have to take into account the level of articulation in this figure. So let's have a look at that then. So we'll start at the head. So you can close and open the jaw, but I have to admit, not the last Monsterarts figure I had, the one prior to that, that was also one of these legendary figures. I closed the jaw and the whole thing just popped off because it's on a really tiny little ball joint under here. But you can close it. It will close all the way. I just don't want to do it in case it gets stuck or it pops off. And yeah, and it can open quite wide as well. I usually leave them about there. Everything is pretty much ball jointed or hinged, so you get a ball joint at the head, so you can get some good sort of side to side action. Like that, up and down. And you can get him to go all the way up like so. Usually you end up with sort of one or two of these that aren't actually affixed. They're floating, and I know this because the tails keep dropping off some of my older figures, and I have to find the bit where it's rolled off somewhere. But yeah, this bit's a floating bit. So then you've got another ball joint at this part, and then I believe there is another one here, or is that a floating piece? I'm not sure. That one really doesn't do much. There's a big one in here, and that allows him to go all the way up. A really big one in this section, so you can get some rocking and up and down. You have to get everything in the right position. What you have to understand with a Monsterarts figure is that it isn't a toy. You have to spend time posing these. You can't just sort of, you know, move it around a bit and say that's it. You have to spend the time getting everything in the right position to get it into the best pose that, you know, suits you. And obviously I can't do that in the course of a review video, but you get the idea. This piece here is basically the main bit that holds everything else together, so you don't get a great deal of motion out of that itself, but it does hold this. I believe this is a floating part, and then this section here is ball jointed, and then it's just various floating and ball jointed parts all the way down to the tip, which will give you quite a range of movement, as you can see. I'm not going to run down each individual piece because I'm not sure which is floating and which is ball, to be honest, but most of them will be ball joints on this, so you can get that tail in quite a few different poses, although I seem to have a loose one, which is pretty much standard with Monsterarts as well. Quite a few of my figures have got loose bits, but yeah, it's just you kind of have to live with it. But there you go. So there's that, and we'll just go back up here, and you've got a ball joint on this, on both arms obviously, and then there's another one here, this section here, and then you've got the wrist section, and then there's a little joint just in there that will have a ball joint on either side, and that allows you to move the wrists. I think that's what that one is. Yeah, there we go. And then there's a ball joint in the upper thigh, in the knee, so you can move the leg around to wherever you want it. More ball joints. I think that's a socket, and then there's a joint there, and a joint right at the ankle, foot. So yeah, it's highly articulated, but it's not just like, you know, just stick it in a pose and you're done. You kind of have to think of these like you would a Hot Toys or like a 3-0 Transformer figure, where you have to move bits ever so slightly, you know, in the way that you want them to go. But yeah, I love these things. they're not for everyone, you know. They're not the cheapest figures on the market, but for me they're the best. So yeah, I'll always go with these. I don't like the NECA ones, to be honest. They just look cheap to me. So yeah, I'm all for me Monsterarts, me. Right, so that's basically just a quick look at this figure. There's not much to talk about on the paintwork, which is why I haven't really covered it, because you pretty much is what you see is what you get. It's all moulded in this dark grey colour, and it does have a slight wash over the top. The main attraction of this figure is just the repaint of his dorsal fins. There are some minor differences from the 2019 figure. The feet are slightly different, the hands are different. I think they made a little bit of change to the head. I can't get to one of mine at the minute because I'm moving a load of stuff around, and yeah, the shelf that these are on has got loads of stuff in front of it. As is usually the way with me when I come to review something. I was hoping to get that sorted before I reviewed this, but no, it's just taking too long, so yeah. But yeah, you get the general idea, and it's got this nice greeny blue metallic paint all the way down, and it does have a nice dry brushing over the top of it to give it some depth. So yeah, always beautifully painted Monsterarts figures. I don't think I've got a single one where it's got a paint app issue or any other issue. The only problems I've had before are slightly loose ball sockets, and sometimes bits pop off because of the way that they're designed, but overall I think they're value for money. So yeah, that's just a quick look at this Monsterarts figure. I have just got in the 2001 Godzilla figure with the recolor like this, because I really needed another one of those. But that's one of my favourite Godzillas, so yeah, just went ahead and bought it. So that will be up at some point in the not too distant future, so do tune back in for that one if you're interested in Godzilla figures. Until then, do take care, and I will see you in the future. Bye for now.